What is up? Welcome to episode 15 of Dead with My Friends podcast. I am Steve,
I'm Nick.
and on this episode, we will be talking Alice, Sweet Alice. All right, so yeah, it's another nice Sunday here. We're talking Alice, Sweet Alice, but before we start discussing that movie, Nick, I went to a death metal show last Friday
You're
with
always fucking at death metal shows, dude.
dude, let me tell you, the Middletown metal scene has been fucking popping, dude. Steve has been booking these awesome shows. It was Necroptic Engorgement, Fester Gore, Torturous Inception, which some of the best gutturals I've heard live was from this band. All like New York bands. It was for Will's wife's birthday. It was kind of her birthday show, and
Oh, that's cool.
Will and his wife, and also Mike, who is in Necroptic Engorgement, they have their own little three-piece hardcore band called Burn the Ship, so they played a set too. But yeah, another good night for metal in Middletown at Quinpins, put together by the legend Steve from Rock Fantasy. That was a fun time. What have you been up to, man?
You gotta take me up to Rock Fantasy, dude.
Dude, if I wish we had time. So the next show you're coming up for, unfortunately, by the time you get up here for that, like Rock Fantasy kind of closes around that time, so Steve can go to there and then come to the
Yeah,
show at
he's hosting his
Quinpins.
show. When is it? So Servant of Sorrow, when is that show? I think you wanted to save like the whole shout out to the end, but now I'm curious.
Yeah, it's on the 28th, which is at the end of this month. It's on a Friday.
Cool, can't wait. Um,
Doors open at 7, I think. So yeah,
so what have I been doing? Question for
yeah,
you
man.
though. Did you get your Vinegar Sunday on?
I did not get my vinegar Sunday on at the moment, but you know, the day doesn't really end after we're done. So,
That's
because
true.
I wanted to watch, there's a different cut of this movie, and I wanted to check it out before we hopped on. So
So that's what you spent your time doing?
yeah,
Cool. Well, I mean, I think it's dope that you checked out the other cut of it. But we'll get to that when we get into the episode. But so me, man, I mean, I've just been slinging the masks. I got a bunch done. I'm taking a break
more
on.
Leatherface.
Yeah, dude, I'm taking a break on the Kempers right now. I have people who do want them, and they're gonna get them. Don't worry. I just need a little bit of a break. Um, yeah, no, I mean, dude, I love doing them, and I've said it a million times on here. It's just when you're doing the same thing over and over again, it just gets really boring, and then you kind of lose a bit of the motivation to want to continue to do it, But I don't want that to happen, so like a break on doing that style would be, very good for me right now. So I'm still, gonna stick with the Leatherface stuff. I have like a Pretty Woman and as they call it, the Killing Mask that I've
Hmm.
been dying to do. I've had blanks of that for a while. So I just want to tackle those and, just try some new techniques out and, build up more of those skills. I got my Vinegar Sunday on, thankfully.
What'd you watch?
Death by Temptation.
Okay,
Dude,
what is that?
oh, man, dude, it's like it's about like this woman who she's a succubus and she's like preying on all these like black guys down in New York City, dude, and she's just like seducing them and then bringing them back to her place, dude. The atmosphere is so good in it, dude. It's just I thought it was a vampire movie at first, and that was like what initially made me buy it. But upon watching it, and then I mean, I read the back, and then they called her like the succubus, and I was just, dude, it was a really fucking good movie, man. You don't own it, right?
What's it called again?
Death by Temptation.
No, no, I do not.
Pick it up, dude. It's really good.
Maybe if we visit the archive, I'll scoop it there. Or I know I'd say maybe 6 weeks from now will be the Vinegar Syndrome halfway to Black
Oh
Friday sale.
yeah, there's a lot, dude.
So
There's a lot that I want to
there's
buy.
there's a few titles that I've kept in like the backlog of my memory that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick those up because those should be like on sale when that sale happens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely will be. It's a bit of an older movie, but dude, it was really, really, really good. I really fucking enjoyed it. Um, it would be good paired up with Vampire in Brooklyn. Have you ever seen that with Eddie
Oh, of
Murphy?
course, with that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
That was another Price Chopper rental.
Yeah, it's like in the
Yeah.
same realm, dude, you know? I think Death by
Okay.
Temptation was made first, but I think it was released after Vampire in Brooklyn. But I mean, dude, New
Interesting.
York City,
Yeah.
1990s, bro. Great cast. Dude, like in Death by Temptation 2, the one of the main guys in it, his name is James Bond the Third. Okay, he
Okay.
wrote, directed, and produced it, and he starred in it too.
You know what's funny? Joe, I was chilling with Joe last night, and he was like, "Bring over some kung fu films." So I had this like Bolo Yi Young 2-pack,
Okay,
and for those that don't know, that's the main bad guy in Bloodsport.
come on,
Um,
come on.
yeah, not Paco, but yeah, the final boss, if you will. Um, and one of the movies was it was almost like a Miami Connection situation where it was like this taekwondo master who wrote, produced, and directed and starred in this
Yeah, it's
movie, and
fucking
like
dope. I love
yeah,
that shit.
and it totally just almost played out like Miami Connection, but Miami Connection I feel like is way more entertaining and campy,
That
but
shit's
it kind of had that
legendary.
vibe.
Miami
Yeah,
Connection's legendary, dude.
which Joe hasn't seen Miami Connection, so that's gonna be uh because he's been on kung fu and martial arts film kick, so he's like, yo dude, whatever you have in your collection, like come on through when you're free. So if we got time, like the day after the next metal show at Quinpins, uh I'm gonna put him on to Miami Connection because I talked about it while we were watching the other movie in the 2-pack. I
Hmm.
think it was called Iron Cobra, and it was like, man, it just ripped off so many movies. Like it,
Fuck yeah, I
a
love
bit of
that.
Karate Kid, a bit of uh fuck, what was it? There was a few movies it ripped off of. I can't remember off the top of my head. Um
I love a good ripoff, dude. I say that shit all the time. I love a good ripoff.
yeah, yeah, no, I appreciate a good rip off. I mean, listen, I'm an Italian horror fan, and they're Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso, which I'm wearing a Trolls 2 hat. Shout out Tapes from the Crypt.
Yeah, dude, Tapes from the Crypt. I was thinking today, dude, because VHS Fest is coming up in a
Yeah,
couple
it's
months.
coming. It's been announced.
So dude, yeah, no, man, the fucking lineup looks crazy, dude. I'm so excited, man. Uh,
Patty Mullen. We get to meet
yeah,
Patty Mullen,
yeah,
dude.
Frankenhooker. They're doing
Hell
Frankenhooker.
yeah.
Can't wait. I love Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker, Doom Asylum. Um, they're also doing The Brain.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Uh, it's the same mad doctor from Reanimator. I can't remember his name, but he's like a mad doctor scientist in that movie too.
Cool.
It's a good Canadian horror that's kind of based around Christmas with a giant monster brain. It's awesome. But they're also showing Winter Beast.
Oh no shit.
Yeah,
The one
Winter
that came
Beast,
in the
Homegrown
Homegrown
Horrors.
Horrors Vinegar
Yeah,
Syndrome put out. Yeah, I saw that.
yep.
That was really
Which
good.
I just watched also Beyond Dreams Door,
Hmm.
which is in that pack.
Oh man,
Our brothers in Bad Taste just covered that on their most
what
recent
was
episode.
what was the pack called?
Homegrown Horrors.
Keep going,
It come
brother. I just
Yeah.
I just wanted to
So
pull it
Winter
up.
Beast is on that lineup of VHS Fest 7, as well as, and I'm so excited for this, At Dawn They Sleep, which is a shot on black metal vampire horror, like
Ooh,
hyper gore.
ooh.
Brian Paulin, he's the fucking man,
Oh
dude. Like
man,
the dude is notorious for like these hyper gore shot on video films of like the late 90s and early 2000s, and
we're
I
gonna have a
can't
good
wait.
time, man, with these
I can't wait
movies.
for you to check that one out, man. And then Killer Nerds is the final one. I don't know much about Killer Nerds, but I'm sure it'll be entertaining.
Dude, another movie on the in that box set, Fatal Exam, is really good
Mm.
too. I
Oh, you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen Fatal
Okay, that's the only one I
I've
haven't
seen
seen.
Fatal Exam and I've seen Winter Beast. I never checked out Beyond Dream's Door. I gotta say, I had this pack and I sold it.
Oof.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to pick it up again. It's just the way it goes. I just sell shit to buy other shit, you know? And so it's like the thought process behind it all the time is like I'm gonna have the hobby pay for itself in a sense. So whatever movies I'm not watching,
Mhm.
I'll sell. And I mean, I'm guilty. You called me out on it with the Alice Sweet Alice because I had that in my sell pile and you had seen it. And I mean, I'm grateful I didn't sell it.
Go on. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I saw it in your pile, and I was like, "What is this doing in your sell pile?"
yeah, and I've watched it, I think the reason why I was gonna sell it though was because it had the slip, and then I was like, I could just probably pick it up again for cheaper on a sale
Mhm.
eventually. But I'm glad I kept it. But to get back to like with the shit that I've been doing, so yeah, man, just the fucking masks and shit. That's that's been keeping me very busy. And I mean, dude, I've just been since you had picked doing Alice Sweet Alice, it got me in the mood to jump into some Jello, mostly American Jello. So I've just been watching a bunch of shit. Like last night, dude, I was up until like almost 4 in the morning. I was watching Brian De Palma's Body Double. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
Oh man, incredible. Like as far as like American Jello goes, like
I do have Dress to Kill, though. I've got the
oh,
Criterion,
Dress to Kill's
release.
great, man. Like those two flicks are fucking incredible, dude. But like Brian De Palma, he was like the one American filmmaker who kind of like I feel like he was kind of one of the first to really get the American Jello going. I mean, now that I say that though, we have Alice Sweet Alice, which came before those movies, but you know what I mean. Like he did a
Yeah.
lot. So he had Dress to Kill. Watched Dress to Kill not too long ago. I love that movie. I could watch that over and over again. It's got Michael Caine in it, dude. And oh shit, what's the fucking kid's name from Christine? He's in it. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's in it. And yeah, dude, Body Double. I watched Body Double last night, and then Kim and I have just been watching some trash TV. We've been watching Jersey Shore.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, that's the best.
Okay.
That's the
Nah,
best.
Jersey Shore's got its moments where it's fucking so stupidly funny because of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, they're fucking those dudes are fucking all
Yeah.
those people are out of their fucking minds, man. And it was just like it was just such an era, man, of like television and
Mhm.
just like the trends and shit like that, dude. Like I remember I went down to the Jersey Shore and I saw the Jersey Shore house. I saw the Shore store and Karma and all those places and shit, but we're not gonna deep dive into that shit. But
Speaking of New Jersey, this was shot in, I believe, Paterson, New
yep, Alice
Jersey,
Sweet Alice
which
was shot in Paterson, New Jersey.
how far is that from where you live?
About 45 minutes. I've actually been
Okay.
down to Patterson quite a bit, dude. There's a location in Patterson and it's let me see. It's like an art factory. Yeah. So, I've been down to Patterson actually quite a bit, dude. One of my buddies is a music video director and I helped out on a bunch of his music videos and he shoots a lot down in the art factory down in Patterson. So it's like an old like textile factory, dude, and there's just like tons of rooms and stuff where like some are decorated, some aren't decorated, but when you rent the room, you have free reign to fucking set it up exactly like how you want it. Like when I did the Waking the Cadaver video with my buddy Eric, Squared Up Studios, um we I set designed it, I did the effects on it too, and we did it with Schlack. You remember
Yeah.
that? That
Yep.
was fucking sick, but that was down
Schlack cut a promo on me.
yeah, he
Yep.
cut a
Yep.
promo on. He was like, "Yo, Steven, Schlack,
What's up? This is
fucking
Schlack.
Schlack here." Dude,
Yeah.
he was cool, man. That was a fun video to work on.
Dude,
And
he's in his own like death grind bands and shit too.
yeah, he was telling me about it, man.
And he's a tattoo artist. I didn't
Yeah,
know that
and he's
either.
a tattoo artist, dude.
Guy does it all, I guess.
But yeah, dude, like I said, man, you have free reign of doing whatever the fuck you want as long as it's like within reason. But
Wait, so you real quick, you shot that in New Jersey, that video?
yeah, yeah, I
Oh, I
didn't
didn't know
shoot it, my
that.
boy
Okay.
did,
Well, I mean,
but
I
I was
you
on set.
assisted on set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was in Patterson. Yep,
Okay.
that was at the art factory. Yeah, but like I decorated the whole room, dude. We like sectioned it off and made it look like a kill room kind of. We put like tarp all over the walls, all over the floor, and cut drapes and shit like that. And it was dope, man. I really enjoy going down there. But yeah, this was filmed in Paterson, New Jersey, dude. That's where Alfred Soul is from. Alfred Soul is the writer director of Alice Sweet Alice. He's a co-writer on Alice Sweet Alice.
Yeah. I would like to check out like maybe where the apartment building is and like the abandoned building. I mean, I think it would be worth a trip
Yeah,
if it's only
we
like
can.
under an hour. Think about it, bro. We stop at I don't know if like or where was it? Fort Lee's along the way of that, or is that like kind of no? That's going towards the city though.
Well, if you're if your mind's going towards hitting up a dispensary,
Yeah.
there's actually one in Patterson, so we could
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So we could really make a day of it then.
Yeah, yeah,
All
so
right. Yeah,
let's do that. Yeah, no, I'd love
we
to
should
do
check
that.
it out. Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, dude. So real quick, like, um, Alice Sweet Alice, man. I had known about this movie since I was a kid. Like my grandfather had a VHS copy
Mhm.
with the slip on his shelf. And I just remember seeing that like clear mask and like the two-faced baby doll and the knife and everything. And I was like very creeped out. And I was like, what the hell is
Yeah.
this?
I
Like, what
think
is this
I
movie?
think like the original cover is I mean, I would try to show it, but it's the mask in the
I got
bag,
you,
right,
brother.
with the
Hold on,
knife
hold on.
and the two-headed baby and the blood's dripping from the baby doll, and it's saying
Yo,
Alice, sweet Alice. Go on. Yep.
so here's the slip for those that are watching on YouTube right now. And
Yep,
then
there you go.
this is the cover.
With the
I
ta
don't know. Is it got a glare
Yeah, a
on
little
your
bit,
end?
but you can see it. And then it's got the
Yeah,
tagline, if you survive this night, nothing will scare you again.
yeah.
But dude, the fucking mask in this movie's fucking creepy, dude.
Oh my god, man. I wish I could get one of those like see-through original masks. Like you see them now at like Spirit Halloween, but it's not the same as like the originals. It's a cheaper material. The paint jobs are shit. Like to get my hands on one of these originals would be so sick.
I mean, I found you that Groucho.
Yeah, that's true.
We could probably find those two masks because there are two masks sometimes that they use in this movie. But we can definitely get all to that. So let's get back to what you were saying though about how your grandfather had it.
Yeah, so he had a copy. Um I hadn't watched it I think until I was like 10. I finally was like, "Hey, let's check this out cuz this has been sitting on your shelf for a long time." And we watched it and it really like creeped me out even at the age that I watched it because I was originally raised Roman Catholic. Received um I have done my confession. I had received communion, which you had come up to that communion party.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I
Very
had
long
seen
time
this
ago.
movie. Yeah, you remember that at the Chinese buffet
Yeah.
up in the Oldville?
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I've received confession and I had seen this movie actually right around that time. So it really resonated with me. It still resonates with me to this day because even though I am not religious, just kind of being raised Roman Catholic, like I used to go to Wednesday Catholic classes. They were like after act normal classes.
Yeah.
Right around I'd say like sorry. Yeah, I went up until like the age of 12 and then I during my mom's divorce of her second marriage, I kind of had the option of like not having to go anymore. I mean, I was getting in trouble there a lot anyways cuz I was always talking about horror movies and like bringing my Puppet Master action figures to class cuz I was like, yeah,
You're like,
these are
yeah,
sick.
I gotta show my fucking friends this.
Yeah. So I was getting in trouble a lot, but it was more or less my mom's husband's choice.
Hmm.
And once they were getting divorced, I was like, "Hey, do I still have to go to church every Sunday?" And she wanted me to because she still like practices like her beliefs, but she was like, oh, I'm not gonna force you. So I was able to get out of that.
So even at a young age though, like you were able to like pick up on like the religious elements in the I mean, because this
Yeah, because I was forced to go to classes every Wednesday after school.
yeah. I mean,
So yeah,
like now that I bring it up, like it is pretty much painted on the walls about like the religious element in the flick, um, but it's interesting how that like kind of resonated you as like being a young kid, you know.
hmm which, and we'll actually I'll save that for my thought when we get deep into it. But yeah, just a lot of this movie had resonated with me, and it really did creep me out because I guess being in that environment, like churches now kind of make me feel a little weird.
Mm.
I don't like, I mean, again, I don't practice like any faith,
Well, when you're
but
think
even when I have to like attend like a service for something of like a family, like for example, my cousin Alex just made his last sacrament.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
I got out of having to go to church by picking up the cake. I don't like sitting in churches if I don't have to. It's just, I don't know. It's just a brings me back to a weird dark time in my life that I just rather like not
Just not
just
remember.
block out. Yeah, totally. Especially like Catholic churches, like it's just the vibe is just so serious, and you have like all of these
Yeah,
crazy statues and imagery, and
right.
it's just like a lot of the time you just get so lost in your head because it's just can be so boring.
Yeah, I've only been to church. I mean, I've had to do like church things for like funerals and things like that. I was baptized. I never received communion or anything like that.
Yo,
Um,
confession is so awkward,
I
dude.
never did confession or anything. I have a therapist, and that's
There you go.
that's
Yeah.
that's where I get my confessions and things out. Nah, man, I wasn't raised religious at all. Now this movie, I had actually found out about it through one of those like hundred horror things that they do on AMC. When they do like the countdown, they're like scariest films
Yep.
of all times and shit like that. Um, because this movie does have some pretty fucking shocking things that end up happening. Like I think that there's a scene that I can't wait to talk about. Actually, two scenes in this that I feel are like probably two of the fucking scariest scenes ever, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So I'm excited to talk about that. But yeah, no, I wasn't raised religious or anything like that. Um, but I can definitely see what you're saying as far as like trying to block out like that aspect of your life when you were a kid. Because I mean, I know how things were for you and everything like that. But what this movie kind of does also is like church is supposed to be like this really holy place where you can, feel comfortable and to feel safe. And it kind of like flips that on its head, really.
Oh, it does, man. Do you
Like
want to get
like
into
like
the
f- like beginning, middle and end. Like it
yeah,
happens constantly.
yeah. And I think that attributes to like why this film is just so unsettling just cuz I've been in those kind of settings, man, and just to see how flipped it is, whenever they're in the church is uh it's just it's so fucking
Yeah.
chaotic. But you know what, we're getting so far into this, so how about
Yeah.
this, let's do a plot breakdown and
Yeah.
then just get right into this.
Yeah, we'll get into a plot breakdown real quick though before we go on. What did you confess to the priest? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna tell you.
No, you don't have to say. I mean, like,
uh,
what the fuck do you
I don't care.
what is
I was dude, I had,
you really
and I
don't have
still
to
do,
say it.
I had such a horrible mouth as a kid. I would curse a lot.
Okay.
My older cousins would find it amusing. South Park was really big. The Attitude Era were coming off the cusp of that, so
Yeah.
those were like my first confessions, was like just my mouth. That's it. That was like an
Yeah.
easy scapegoat. Yeah.
All right. 'Cause, like, I
I was
don't
like,
know.
I gotta think of something, cause like, dude, the
Father,
anxiety of like
I say
waiting.
swear words, and I do
Yeah,
the suck it the suck it DX thing to my friends.
exactly. And then it's just like, all right, say 10 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers,
Yeah, and then
which I can still recite those too.
and
That's
then make
pretty
sure your
crazy.
mom throws in $1 at the end in the
Yeah.
basket
Yeah, I used to try
as a
to.
donation.
As I was getting older, man, I was like, get this fucking here.
Yeah, here you go.
You know, yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sharing that. I was being a dick.
It's all good, man.
But
I for those that are listening, like I hope we're not like offending any like religion or
yeah,
anything.
we're not
Like
trying to offend.
believe what you want. My thing is just like don't force your beliefs on others, but like as long as you're cool about whatever your faith is, like believe what you want, you know?
Yeah, we're definitely not trying to offend anybody, but yeah, we're just fucking around.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, let's let's get into a plot breakdown on this dude. So I mean,
do you want to read the write up?
yeah, I'll read the write up. So
Okay.
I watched this on my Arrow Video release. Beautiful fucking release.
Same
It's
here.
a 2K restoration of the original theatrical version from the original camera negative. So on my TV, dude, it looks fucking beautiful.
Oh, I bet.
It looks beautiful, dude. They did a real good job with this, dude. Tons of special features. I mean, I know we were supposed to be getting to the plot breakdown, but I just want to talk about the release for a little bit, and then I'll read the write up. But it was really cool though, dude, because I did not know that they had an alternate cut on here. So that's really cool. I'm excited to
Yeah,
talk
and
about
that's the
that,
cut
and it's
that
in
I
the
watched
special
this morning.
features. Yeah. Let me read the write up that Arrow Video had done up on Alice Sweet Alice. Okay. So, Alice Sweet Alice. A young Brooke Shields meets an untimely end in this religious themed proto slasher par excellence from director Alfred Soule. On the day of her first communion, young Karen, Brooke Shields, is savagely murdered by an unknown assailant in a yellow rain mac and creepy translucent mask. But the nightmare is far from over, as the knife wielding maniac strikes again and again. Karen's bereaved parents are forced to confront the possibility that Karen's wayward sister Alice might be the one behind the mask. Bearing influence from the likes of Hitchcock and then booming Italian giallo film, and more specifically, Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now, Alice Sweet Alice is an absolutely essential, if often overlooked, entry into the canon of 1970s American horror.
Brooke Shields in Holy Terror. Alice was too old to play with dolls and too young to make love. Brooke Shields, as you've never seen her before. She was too beautiful to play with boys and too young to play with men. So Alice began to play with death.
She's made repeated requests that the kid see a psychiatrist.
She has a knack of making things look like accidents.
He tried to kill me!
No more dolls, no more toys. Alice only plays with bodies. It's too late to save her. A story of unnatural love and unnatural death. Brooke Shields in Holy Terror. It's too late for prayers.
Fucking great write up.
Yeah, great write up, and I agree. Very overlooked.
Yeah, yeah. I would
Well, I
certainly say
think it's
so.
I think with especially with the help of this release, like I think it's found its audience now.
That's the beauty of these labels putting out these movies, because it's not a lost or forgotten film, but it is certainly overlooked.
Yeah.
But it is a really fucking good movie. Really fucking good movie, dude.
It's a great movie, and it is a great example of an American giallo.
Yeah. Um, this movie, I mean, as in the write up says, stars Brooke Shields. Now, Brooke Shields was probably about like what, like 9, 10 years old in this film. It's
Yeah.
one. I think it was her first like theatrical film that she ever did. Before that, may have been like some television, but this was her first movie, which is really pretty cool. So it stars Brooke Shields, Linda Miller, Niles McMaster, and Paula Shepherd. The Paula Shepherd thing's really funny. So
Yeah, because she's 19 playing a 12-year-old.
right, it's kind of like a burial ground. What's that dude's name?
Peter Bark,
Peter Bark.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
He was 24 playing a 13-year-old dubbed by another 24-year-old's voice.
Yeah, it's
It's
weird,
great.
man. But like she looks like she's a kid, even though
Yeah,
she's like
it's
19. There's one shot in the movie where it kind of throws you off, and you can kind of tell that she's older.
is
Um,
it the shot where she's in the group home?
yeah, and she's sitting down, and then she gets up, and she's wearing the shorts, and she has legs like a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just that she's so much like she's the same height as Brooke Shields in the movie,
Right.
who's legitimately 10 years old,
Yeah.
playing a 10-year-old. And yeah,
Alfred
it's
Soul,
so weird.
I think she's from Patterson or she's from New Jersey. Alfred Soul had actually discovered her because I think she was doing some kind of play work. She was in a play of some sort, and he discovered her and then put her in the movie. And I think this was also her first movie. And then she did like two more, and she called it. So, and Alfred Soul only did like three movies as well. He did Alice Sweet Alice. He did another movie. And then he did Pandemonium. Have you ever seen Pandemonium?
I have not seen
Vinegar Syndrome
Pandemonium.
released Pandemonium. I didn't like it personally. I thought it was kind of fucking boring.
Okay.
But I think I'm gonna revisit it. Uh, I just think that it's it's something that like I personally, as a viewer, need to do with movies that I really didn't like. Um, because I will say though, dude, like my first view on Alice Sweet Alice, it's not that I didn't like it. It was just I was kind of about it. You know, I was like, it was good, right? And then before I was gonna go off and sell it, I watched it again, and I'm like, this is fucking really good. I kind of don't want to sell it, but I was like, fuck it, I'll do it anyways. I'll pick it up another time, and then I think I watched it like another time after that, and then I watched it for when we were viewing. So I've seen it probably like solid like 4 to 5 times. But it's staying in the collection, man. It ain't going
Good.
nowhere.
I'm so glad to hear that, man.
Yeah.
And you had sent me the video archives episode on American Giallos, and they briefly like touched up on this, and I was like, yeah, man, like I want to talk Alice, Sweet Alice, because also this is the time of the year where people are making their communions too.
Right. Like Easter just
Y-
passed, right?
Yeah,
Like,
so this is about the time between like late April and May, and it is a springtime movie, and like there's
yeah,
those
for sure.
scenes with the rain, and it just adds so much atmosphere, and like
It's a
it
jello-y atmosphere, man. I mean,
yeah, I love the rain though the most. It just really sets the tone for some reason. And like, it had been raining here on and off for the past 24 hours, so viewing the other cut this morning with a bit of a drizzle,
yeah,
it just felt right, man.
yeah. Um, yeah, I could absolutely see that. I was watching it last night, and it was storming here, thunder, lightning
Perfect.
storm.
Yeah.
So it was just I was like, oh fuck yeah. And then I watched Body Double last night too, and it's just like just stylistically, dude, just so fucking like Brian De Palma films are just beautifully shot, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not gonna go off on the De Palma tangent, but I really
No.
want to show you some of his shit, dude. Like,
Yeah, dude,
amazing,
I'm
amazing
down.
filmmaker. But even this movie, it was beautifully shot, dude. Like the cinematography is great. Alfred Soul, before he was a director, writer director, he was an architect. So when you think about that, right, this individual being an architect, the attention to detail that he has and that he put into his own movie, like really showed.
Yes and no, because like what I was watching an interview with him, and he had a lot of clash with the camera guy. The
Oh,
camera guy a lot of the time would just do his own thing. So
what a
a part of
dick.
it, they were fucking. They did not get along. However, credits to the camera guy or camera operator, um, or what's the actual term?
Cinematographer.
Cinematographer. There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you. Credits to the cinematographer because there are some great shots, especially like um there are these certain shots of like the religious imagery and statues and just the way they are with the score. It's so fucking creepy and
Yeah.
unsettling, especially like when Brooke Shields' character is getting killed. There's this shot of the Virgin Mary statue and
Hmm.
Jesus on the cross, and just it's just so fucking unsettling.
I really enjoyed I really fucking liked the music in this.
Yeah, very
Um
creepy.
yeah,
And childlike at times. There's a few like so when
Stephen Lawrence is the composer, and I looked to see like what other movies he might have did. It's funny though, like he really didn't do that many movies after this, dude. He's got a fucking crazy filmography of doing music for Sesame Street.
really.
Yeah, he like
That's
I'm like,
funny.
damn, dude, I like this fucking music. I want to see like some more, or hear some more shit that he did, and then it's just like all Sesame Street. So
Wow.
I mean,
Talk about complete opposite sides of the spectrum.
dude, that is the farthest from either.
And there is it's funny you say like dropping that nugget of knowledge on me like that because like there are moments where like Alice is doing something like sneaky or wrong and there's like this childlike na 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 like
Yeah.
kind of like ha ha ha
That's
like
the thing about Giallo flicks though, man. That's like predominantly like what the style of music is in Giallo films. And that's like the thing that I like the least about Giallo, if I'm going to be honest with you, is like that
is the
child.
score
Yeah, is like the
or
I mean other than like some Argento stuff because he kind of
well
like
he's got Goblin in his corner
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
you know
exactly. And it's different, but other Giallo that I have seen, yeah, you kind of get like that child like the na 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 na.
yeah
It's like like almost like hymns or nursery rhymey
mhm
type things, and it's supposed to just be like very creepy and very unsettling. Um, but it's not my favorite thing in a Giallo flick. But
okay
like we've said though, we keep on saying Giallo, 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 Giallo. So I'm sure a lot of people who are listening already know what Giallo is. And we talk about how this is an American Giallo, but Giallo films originally came from Italy. So Giallo is the word for yellow. Did you knew that?
yeah.
So
They
Giallo,
were these yellow paperback crime novellas where it
right?
was always a murder mystery,
Yeah,
which is funny though because like there's this big like one of the main themes of this movie is the killer wears a yellow rain jacket.
yeah, and white gloves instead of black
Yep.
gloves because
Yeah.
in Giallo films, the killer who's usually revealed at the end, right? Goes on a whole slew of like all these like horrific, just like all these like whole horrific fucking murders throughout the movies, man. Like Giallos are my favorite, dude. I think that's my favorite genre is Giallo. I love the mystery. Um I it's just they're murder mysteries. Who doesn't like a
Yeah.
fucking murder mystery, dude?
I mean, some tracks. Yeah, I like
Some
certain
tracks.
Jallos, but I won't watch every Jallo just because it's a Jallo, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a few from Argento I like. There's a few from Fulci, a few from Umberto Lenzi,
Yeah.
you know.
Mario
Mario
Bava.
Bava, how dare I forget his name, dude? Yeah, I mean, come on, Twitch of the Death Nerve,
Yeah, The Girl Who
fucking
Knew Too
classic.
Much, which is said to be like the first Jello ever, you know. So yeah, he pretty much set the formula. Mario Bava pretty much set the formula for all the Jellos. Murder, mystery, um black gloves, razor blades,
Yeah,
just like shit like that. Let me see. Yeah, elements of slasher, thriller, psychological horror, shit like that. And that's just that's my bread and butter, bro. We kind of just fucking riffed off, named a bunch of fucking Jalo things. That's kind of like all I really want to say about Jalo. But Obviously, like with everything else, us here in America, we're gonna end up picking up on all the good shit that they're doing in other parts of the world. So now we have American Jello. So some movies that are considered American Jello: Alice, Sweet Alice, Happy Birthday to Me, which I've never seen, unfortunately. You've seen?
I have never seen. I've been dying to watch there's a Blu-ray that is out of print. Um yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
hoping to watch it sometime soon. I know it's one of Eli Roth's favorites.
Yeah, he's got a really good story about Happy Birthday to Me. So refer to Video Archives, American Jello Part 2. That's the
Yeah.
best podcast ever.
Great. That episode is really a great
Yeah, it's
episode.
really good. Some other movies, just real quick: Basic Instinct. And there's two movies that I want to get your opinion on whether or not you consider them Jello.
Okay.
The original Friday the 13th.
I mean, yes, because it literally is Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Yeah,
In a sense, there are like shots that Sean S. Cunningham used that were directly from Twitch of the Death Nerve and
yeah,
kills.
yeah. So
I could see the first one being
yeah, the first one definitely, because yeah, that was yeah, you don't know who the killer is. It's a murder mystery. There's a lot of
mhm,
slashing,
yeah.
gratuitous fucking blood. And then the other flick that came to my mind, do you think Scream is a Jello?
Hmm.
I mean, it fits the
You know,
criteria.
it is a whodunit,
Yeah.
and there are some red herrings, and it's debatable, man. I don't know.
I'm gonna
That
go on the
is
record here and I'm gonna say Scream's a fucking Jello. Scream is
okay.
an American Jello.
Which is funny because they do a little ha ha Jallo, not like what is it in Scream 6 where like the one film student is
She's
like
talking
obsessed with.
about Jellos and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I think it might be. I was like in the shower and I'm like thinking about like all this shit and I'm like, yeah, Scream's a fucking Jello, definitely. So
Hey man, it's definitely debatable. I don't think I'd really argument that it's not like when you really break things down. But yeah, man, just more on Alice, Sweet Alice though. Again, just those religious imageries just being so creepy,
mhm,
and yeah, I love how this movie opens with this silhouetted girl in a communion dress and veil, and she's saying the Hail Mary like just really fast
mhm.
and in a whisper, and then it's like got this like weird motion where she like pulls up, she's holding a cross and pulls it up to reveal a knife, and then we get the Alice Sweet Alice
Yep.
opening title. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great way to open a movie. Or a great way to open this movie.
And it's crazy too because like yeah, Brooke Shields is the main selling point as her career took off,
She's only in
but
it for 10 minutes.
she's only in it for 10 minutes and her death is pretty shocking.
Yeah, it really is. So you opened up the movie, and over some time we're introduced to the main players in this movie. So it's Karen, who is Brooke Shields. Um, we have Paula Shepherd, who is Karen, who is the older sister to Brooke Shields.
No,
Lynn
Alice.
Alice, my bad.
Yeah.
So we
Say it
have
again.
So we have Paula Shepherd, who is Alice. We have Brooke Shields, who plays Karen. We have Linda Miller, who plays the mother. Niles McMaster is the father in this. So the mother and father are actually divorced. And then we also have Mr. Alfonso,
Oh my
who's
god.
the
We'll get to him.
yeah, we'll get to him, but he's one of the characters. He's like this obese fucking the obese creepy landlord who
Yeah.
lives in the apartment
Fucking
complex.
pedo slob piece of shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go on, brother. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all I had to say about that fuck Alfonso. But that dude is in a few horror movies. He's in Bloodsucking Freaks,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's in another movie. I think it's Night of the Zombies, 1981. I have not seen it though.
So, the dynamic between Alice and Karen, like Alice is like she just fucking picks on the poor girl.
Yeah, she's a very troublesome child, whereas Karen is
Mischievous.
mischievous child, and Karen is like the favorite good girl. She's the younger sister, and you notice right away like there's like this weird favoritism even from the priest, Father Tom,
Right.
and just the way that him and the mom are just like so touchy, kiss on the cheek.
It kind of like makes you think that like they may have had something at some point in time, maybe before he was a priest.
Video archives have uh touched on this, and I think it's as clear as day. And the theory is that Brooke Shields Karen is Father Tom's kid,
Oh, yeah.
and whereas Alice is her actual father's,
Right.
kid. But like you and it
Which
would
would
make
be his
sense because
sin, which would be his sin because it's out of
an ultimate
wedlock,
sin,
right? And a
absolutely.
priest
But
having a daughter.
yeah. Well, also too, man, like just look at the favoritism that the Father Tom has towards Karen. He gets her this nice gold cross that he gifts it to her that was his mother's.
Hmm.
And yeah, you could tell they spend a lot of time out of church together. And I think it's as clear as day that the mother and Father Tom are having an affair still. Like they
Still.
probably Yeah, well, not to jump around, but when Alice and Karen's father comes to town in the funeral, he's out there playing detective, and Father Tom is kind of like, "Yeah, so how long you staying out here?" And he's just kind of like,
Because he's like fucking with his shit.
"Yeah, he's just trying to get it in, bro."
Yeah.
He's like getting cock blocked.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty clear, man. But yeah, to
I
to
like the
to jump
theory.
back,
Yeah, I like the theory. I could agree with it. I think there's something there for sure.
yeah, I think it's clear as day. But yeah, to jump back though, man. So, she's receiving her communion. It's this big event, man. Everyone's all dressed up.
As it always
And
is.
she's the last one holding the candle to go out with all the girls. And that's where we have the clear mask raincoat figure who strangles her with this candlestick that she's holding, and then stuffs her body in this like cupboard, and then lights the candle and leaves the candle burning. I can't imagine that smell.
I could see it smelling like burnt
It's a
hair,
it's
you know?
Yeah, it's a very shocking and kind of mean-spirited death for a kid,
Very.
which is, for the 70s, that's pretty ballsy.
Yeah. No, it certainly is. Anytime you kill a kid in a fucking movie, it's pretty fucking it's pretty unsettling. One thing that always like was really unsettling to me was when it happened in the Blob. When that kid dies in the Blob, right?
Oh, dude, the kid in the sewer,
That
yeah.
that always like fucked me up. But to get back
His,
to
hi
Alice, yeah, that's a great
yeah.
movie too. But to get back to Alice, Sweet Alice, man. But yeah, dude, that falls into what I was saying though about like the sanctity of like a church, man. You want to feel safe there, and this girl was murdered inside the church as she's about to receive communion. Now, let me ask you, dude. I don't know if you're gonna know the answer to this, but what would be the religious like outcome or idea of dying before you receive communion? Do you know the answer to that? I don't.
Well, it's kind of like when you receive communion, you're receiving the body and the blood of Christ. The body is that nasty ass wafer that you have to hold your tongue out. And the priest kind of before COVID would put it there. And it's ah, receiving, yeah, you're receiving Christ.
Yeah.
It's the best way I could put it is you're receiving his body and his blood.
Yeah, cause I thought about that. I was like, I wonder like what that means for her, dying, you know? Where do you go? Purgatory? You don't go to heaven? So
Maybe.
the desire to receive communion is something also that plays into this because Alice desperately wants to receive communion for
Yeah.
some reason.
And it's funny too because like when she's up there to receive communion like right after her sister dies, but they don't know yet,
Hmm.
like the aunt is like, "What is she doing up there? She's not supposed to be up there." And just the way, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's in her face, but she just looks like she's up to no good, the kid.
Well, she's older though too, so I mean, wouldn't you think that like maybe she had already done this? Like, why does she want to do it again?
I don't
It's
know. They
interesting.
they say that they pretty much say like she's never received
Oh, she never
communion.
did. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why she wants to because her sister is, but she's probably such a troublesome child at the religious school that they go to that they're like, "Fuck this, we're not
Well, yeah,
giving her
she
communion."
was always causing trouble. But yeah, nah, man, this death is pretty shocking, and it actually happens pretty quickly. As like Brooke Shields being like the main selling point to this movie, she's only in it for 10 minutes, like we had said. She gets killed 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
So after her body's like lit on fire in like that little pew cupboard thing, there's like that whole commotion that ends up happening inside the church, smoke and everything like that, and yeah, man,
Dude,
it's
it
a really
is just
shocking
it's
scene.
chaos, man. It's very anxiety ridden in that scene because the mom has no idea what's going on and everyone gets to see Karen's body before the mom does, and then like the aunt, or yeah, the aunt comes running out and she's like, "It's Karen, it's Karen." And then the priest is like, "She's dead." And
Hmm.
it's so insane. I love the way that whole sequence was shot.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. But then from there, the father, for the funeral and everything, he comes back to town and he's playing detective. He's gonna try to figure out who killed his kid.
Yeah. Because there's already speculation that it's Alice because she has Karen's veil
Yeah, they
in
find it
her.
in her pocket,
Yeah.
and she was trying it on earlier on in the movie.
Yep.
She was like, she was busting Karen's chops as they were getting ready. Puts on the veil, and then she's like, "Mom, tell her to take it off." And the mom tells her, "Take your sister's stuff off. It's her shit."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, she just has this desire, dude, for the fucking communion.
And it also doesn't help that the aunt targets Alice because she knows what a troublesome kid she is. And, they just do such a good job where they really make you think it is Alice.
Yeah, the whole time. I mean, like the main thing that they do is like, so the killer's wearing that clear mask, but it's like painted up with like makeup and stuff, like a party mask, and with the coat. Um, and then it's like the killer like wears like a dress, white
Mm-hmm.
gloves, little shoes, so it looks like a young female. The killer looks like a young female. But Alice also has that same shit. She has the mask, which we see in the beginning, right when she's antagonizing Karen. She has the one mask on, and then she pulls it off, and then she has the other clear mask on underneath it, and then she locks her inside of that one room, if you remember, and she's like screaming, trying to get out and everything, and yeah, she just always like is always antagonizing her. But yeah, dude, we're led to believe for majority of the movie that she was the one who did it. Um, but there was like a turning point scene where you kind of know that she's not the killer.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen for quite a while. But what was it? Again, you've got the police are convinced at this point because they want to question her, and the dad's not really about it. You've got the aunt who's like, she's a troublemaker, she's mischievous.
Yeah.
And then we find out too that Alice has got this weird fucking altar in the basement of her apartment where she keeps her masks. She has Karen's weird, creepy, two-faced porcelain doll,
Hmm.
and her veil. So you can't almost help but believe that it would be Alice doing all the killings.
Well, you as the viewer, man, I mean, I was pretty sure. My first view, like it's got to be
Yeah.
her. She's got
Oh,
everything.
same,
Yeah, she's got
same.
everything.
I mean, granted, I was only like 10 years old when I saw this, but still, I was
Simple-minded.
convinced, and even watching it years later, I was still like, "Wait, is she the killer?" Like, I kind of feel like she was.
Yeah.
But her dad's really trying to go to bat for her, and he's doing some digging of his
The
own.
mom too. The
He's
mom's on her side as well.
Yeah, yeah. She's right there for Alice's defense.
Yeah, because like you said, the aunt is kind of always against her.
Oh, the aunt's such a bitch, man. She's just one of those that like always has to put her 2 cents in, always has to have a fucking
Butting into
opinion,
everybody else's
butting into
business.
someone's business, making her fucking backhanded comments.
Right.
And she fucking gets what's coming to her. She's with the mom. She's like taking care of her sister after.
Consoling her and, just helping her around the house and stuff like that. Definitely being a good sister.
Yeah.
Being there for her sister in need
While
after.
being super intrusive though, and I feel like she's got ulterior motives and trying to be super intrusive, but yeah, I think Alice goes to drop off a check to the scumbag landlord.
Yeah, it was either a check or it was, well, Alice also fucks with him too.
Oh yeah. Because
Yeah.
he's always like popping out and like, "Oh, what are you up to, Alice?
Yeah, go
I
get me
know what you're doing."
groceries. Yeah, what are you doing in the basement? Things like that. But yeah, she fucks with him too, and she also like gives it right back to him. Like,
Oh yeah.
like even though like he's an adult, she does not see him as an authoritarian figure at all, bro. She's a little bitch to him.
Yeah.
Is the best
And
way
no,
to
it's
put it.
great because he fucking deserves it because he's being a total creep and she's like pretty much like, "Fuck off, fatso." Like,
He's a big dude, bro.
dude.
I thought initially it was a fat suit. First time
No.
watching it, I thought it was a fat suit. But then you see him in different angles, and then like you see his arm hanging, his fat and his arms hanging and all this shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, no, that's like him. That's the real deal.
Dude, his apartment is so disgusting. Could you imagine what it smells like? First of
He's
all,
got the
real quick,
cats and
the cat,
fucking
not the cat piss alone from all the kittens he's got, and then he's got piss stains on his pants, man.
yeah.
And this dude is just laying in bed listening to opera music while eating fucking a can of tuna fish with his kittens.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, dude,
it's
this
like-
shit is so gross.
And it's like the heat too, dude, because like he's got a
Mhm.
fan in the window. That's
Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, man. I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
be there, but for some reason, I guess the mother just kind of wants to be a good tenant. So
Yeah.
there comes a point where she tells her, "Oh, go drop off cake." And I can't remember if it was the cake or the check first. I think it was the cake first that Alice goes and gives that to him.
Yeah, she brings the cake first, and this is like the after ceremonies of like the funeral and stuff. And if you notice what she does is when she brings the cake, she like licks a bit of the chocolate off her finger, all
Yeah.
like promiscuous, because she knows that he is a total creep.
Right.
But she's like antagonizing him. I just think it's in her nature. Like she's just a little shit of a kid who's like, "I'm gonna fuck with him."
Yeah, that's her thing.
But then she goes back there to drop off the check, and he tries to advance on her, like he lures her into the apartment, and he tries to just be a total pedo creep and starts putting moves on her, and she grabs like one of the kittens by like the back of the fucking head and just
Yeah.
like almost like breaks his neck
She
and
kills
like,
it.
throws the kitten. Yeah, she does kill it, which
Yeah, 'cause
that
he starts
scene
freaking out. My kitten, you killed my cat, you killed my kitten.
I guess like
Was that a real
It's
fucking cat? It looked like a real
dude,
cat
I swear to God, that was a real fucking cat that she
the whole
grabbed like
time.
that. Yeah, and that made me very uncomfortable because I'm a cat dad, so it's just
I'm an
like,
animal lover.
yeah, like that. I was like, no, no, like what the fuck. And I get like that was her only way to get away in
Yeah.
a sense, or she just was thinking on her feet in a very tough situation. But man, that was, I mean, both aspects of that was very rough to watch. But she runs off, right? And um I think the aunt's like making her way downstairs
Yeah,
at some
she's
point.
getting ready to leave. And
And
then go on.
that's when we see the mask, someone in a mask with the yellow raincoat, and I love the way
Yeah,
it's
we see the
shot
killer.
because the killer's eyes like realizes that like someone's coming down. It's just the little head tilt and the look up, man. Just the way that scene is shot, it's so creepy. And yeah, the masked assailant attacks the aunt, starts stabbing her
Stabbing
in
her in
the
the leg.
leg. And it
Foot.
looks so in the foot, and it looks realistic because she misses a few times, and it doesn't go in like super deep. It looks like it stops kind of at the bone,
Which would
which
be like
makes
real. Yeah, like it looks like a
yeah,
real stabbing. And
yeah,
we talked about the realism of like, the missing of the stabs when the killer's going a bit chaotic, and when we talked about I Saw the Devil.
yep,
It definitely, yeah, no, I like when they do it like that where it's not super precise, you
yeah.
know.
It
Just
just makes it feel more realistic.
yeah, dude, it was,
And
and she's
there's
fucking screaming, dude, and this
oh,
killer's just fucking going at it, man. That's a great scene.
dude, and it's got that 70s bright red blood,
Right.
and it's just spewing out her leg,
It's almost
and
like
that's
pink, the blood.
mhm.
Yeah, I love it.
And Alfonso pops out of his apartment. He's like, Alice is stabbing her. Alice is stabbing her. And she's even calling the killer Alice.
Right.
So the mom comes running down, and it's great because, like, the aunt is crawling out of the apartment into the fucking rain, and you just see all the blood, like, washing in the rain.
Yeah.
And she's like, it was Alice. It was
Yeah, and
Alice.
then the
And,
mom's like
like,
screaming, "Help me!
yeah.
Somebody help
And there's that
me!"
piece of shit watching from his window, fucking Alfonso, and then he just kind of like shuts the window. And then that's when they take the aunt to the hospital, and they start questioning, and they're like, who did it? And like, the mom's like, don't say it to her sister. Don't say it was Alice. Like it
The cops, yeah, because the cop's there too. The cop wants her to say Alice.
yeah.
He's really trying to figure out this case, dude. So he's just kind of painting his own narrative in a sense, dude. Just whatever the fuck he could say that's gonna pin her to this, to bring her in. That's all
Yeah.
he needed to do. That's all he needed was for Alice, or for the aunt to be like, no, it was Alice. And he's like, all right, fuck it, booking her now. You know?
Yeah, because he's like, I'm not gonna book her for Karen's murder, but I could book her for the stabbing of her aunt.
Right.
And that's when they do the polygraph test.
Okay, but before this though, I just want to say, during all of this though, or I don't know if during all of this, but Alice is actually in the basement. Alice is in the basement, and she is at her shrine, and she's like kind of freaking out because the dad ends up going down there and finding her, right?
Hmm.
And
And
then
we had also failed to mention, and this is on my part, is Alfonso, as he's like advancing on Alice, he says that like the dead come back for their things, and like, I know what you have down in the basement of
there
Karen's,
you go.
and she's gonna come back for
Yep,
you.
exactly. And then she runs away after having their little interaction, or not their little interaction, but after having their interaction. And then we have the scene when the aunt ends up getting stabbed up, but Alice is in the basement. And when she's in the basement, the father comes down and tries to find her, sees her down there, and she's like hiding. And I think she initially thinks that it's the killer coming in there to get her, right? Because she holds the doll, the two-headed doll, and she's like, "No, here it is. Here, like this is yours."
She thinks it's Karen.
She
She
thinks
thinks
it's
Karen
Karen.
has come back from the dead because Karen is wearing, the raincoat, and maybe somehow got the clear mask. So she thinks, yeah, it's
And then
Karen's.
what Alfonso said to her definitely, stuck with her and scared her. She's
Yeah,
still a kid at the end of the
she,
day.
exactly. Even though she tries not to act like it,
Right.
which going back
Doing
to
a
the
little bitch.
polygraph
The polygraph
test,
scene's pretty good.
because they ask her, do you know who the killer is? And she's like, no, and that's a lie.
Yeah.
And then he asks her again, and he's like, who's the killer? Do you know who the killer is? And she's like, yes, telling the truth.
Yeah.
And then
He said
who's the
she says
killer?
Karen.
Karen. And she's telling the truth on technically on the polygraph
But
test.
it's not what the cop wants to hear, because the cop is like,
Exactly.
did she pass or fail? And he's like, she kind of passed and kind of failed. I forgot exactly what he said, but he's like, well, what the fuck do you mean by that? And exactly like what you're saying. It's like, I asked her this question. I asked her, do you know who the killer is? Right? Initially, she says no. And that was a
Yep, and she's
lie.
lying. Yep.
And then, do you know who the killer is? Yes, it was Karen. And that was the truth. But that doesn't make sense because Karen's
Yeah.
dead.
And
And
he's
then
like,
she
he
does
just
this little bitch thing, dude, and then she fucking he's like, "Oh, she's throwing your polygraph off the table, dude." And she just throws it off the table when they're
well,
watching
right
through
before
the
she does that too, man, there's that weird fucking line where the polygraph tester or whatever he is, he's like, "Oh man, did you see the way she looked at me? Like when
Yeah.
I put the wire or whatever
Said
around her
something about her
tits?"
tits, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, it's like she wanted me to touch him.
Yeah. It's the
And
way
I
she
was
looked
like,
at
"Oh
him.
man, this is fucking weird, dude." Because
Yeah.
we know it's a 19-year-old, but it's supposed to be a 12-year-old. So like that whole situation is just fucking weird. And I feel like she maybe hears that or something. She knows that they're talking about it, and that's when she takes the polygraph thing and just like like just chucks it off the desk. And the
Yeah, and
cop's
then
like, "That little bitch."
maybe she thought like she would destroy whatever could be incriminating on her or whatever. But then after
Hmm.
that, she's forced to go into like a psychiatric facility for observation to be held because she is a suspect in all of this.
Yeah. And then the father, he starts doing more detective work, and
Yeah, during that
he's trying
time.
to track down every student that has ordered that same raincoat to see if he can maybe like match some things up. And he meets up with Father Tom, and they start discussing things. And Father Tom's trying to help him out, but at the same time, he's trying to like get him out of there because he's like, "How long are you hanging around? Like, you
Yeah, how long you
you
hanging
can't just
around for again, dude?
you
Yeah,
can't just keep playing detective." I
he
know what
does
he
tell him that
wants.
too.
Yeah.
He does. I think he does tell him like he should go home.
And it's interesting too because like the whole dichotomy of like the broken marriage. At one point, there's a scene where the dad and mom have like a reconnection, and they're about to get it on,
Yeah,
but
they hook up.
like, well, I don't even think they get to really
They
because
kiss.
they kiss, but they don't get to like really do what they want because his current wife
Calls.
calls and starts asking about him.
I miss you. I'm lonely.
Do you love me? And
And
he's like,
then he's
yes,
like
I love
silent.
you.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
Yes, I love you.
And that kills the whole mood for him and his ex-wife to
She
hook
knows
up.
the deal though,
Yeah.
she knows the deal. And like you said, dude, she's banging the fucking priest low key.
Yeah.
More than likely.
And I
Um
think that's maybe why their marriage was split up, because she was being unfaithful.
could be.
Could be. But also the mom gets 2 calls from the killer. She's
While
doing the heavy breathing. Yeah.
while Alice is in the
In the
psychiatric facility.
So that's when we're like, "Oh, well, how could it be Alice? Like who is making these calls?"
Yeah. See what I mean though about Scream possibly being a Jello, because that
I
happens in
see it.
fucking
Yeah.
Scream, bro.
Yeah, you're right with Billy. So like,
Right?
oh,
But Billy
he's
gets
lo
arrested,
yeah.
Sydney's home, she takes the fucking nap, and then Stu calls, right?
Mhm.
We don't know it's Stu yet, but Stu calls, and then he ends up at the house, right? Now Billy's not a
Yeah.
suspect anymore because of that, right? So Alice is off the hook now. Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Kinda.
Um
But like the mom doesn't know that it's the killer calling. She just thinks it's just some weird calls and
He's not
shit.
saying the killer's not saying
Yeah.
anything, just kind of like breathing, kind of like pulling a Billy from fucking Black Christmas a little bit, because he
Yeah.
kind of does that shit before he starts getting going with his all fuckery. Um,
The dad, he's staying out at a hotel, and he gets a call at the hotel desk. And we didn't really mention, but Alice and Karen have two cousins. It's the mean aunt's kids, and one of them was supposed to go check and find Alice right when Karen's death happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also got the yellow rain jacket. So the dad gets a call, and it's supposed to be the cousin Angela. And she's like, I have some of Alice's things. Like, I didn't want mommy to get mad at me. Or no, I've got some of Karen's things. I
I thought
didn't want
I thought she
mom.
called and she said I found the cross because
Well, yeah, that's one of the things is
yeah,
the
is it?
cross. And
Okay.
yeah,
Because that was the one thing that was missing. Because the killer in
yeah.
the beginning, after they kill Alice, after they kill Karen, rips the
She takes the
cross.
cross. Yep. So, but she says, like, I have some of Karen's things, and then mentions, like, the cross,
Right.
too, along with her jacket and other shit. So,
And he's like, yeah, he's like, Uncle Dom's coming. Uncle Dom will be there. Because his name's Dominic.
yeah. And he goes out towards this, like, waterfall and, like, abandoned building. And that's when we see this, like, person in a yellow raincoat run in, and he thinks it's his niece Angela. So he goes and
He runs and
chases
follows her.
after
Yeah.
her, and he gets stabbed on the stairs.
Yeah, he's like
And
slowly coming up the stairs, and the killer jumps out from the
mhm,
stairwell and stabs him in the arm. And
yeah,
you're just like, oh fuck, like what's going on here? This is gonna be a good
but
one.
he's not dead,
No.
and he's like, hey, it's okay, like let's just talk. And that's when the killer grabs a brick and starts bashing him over the head, and then ties him up.
Hmm.
And the killer is just slowly like pushing the body towards
Yeah,
the
and he wakes
window.
up and he's like freaking out and he's like screaming, no, 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 no. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then he sees the cross, and he grabs it with his teeth and bites it off, and he's holding it. And that's when the killer takes off her shoe and starts bashing in his fucking teeth, which is so crazy.
yeah,
And right before the killer dumps the dad's body out the window, that's when we get the reveal
yeah,
of who the killer is,
yeah. It's a
which is
it's a great reveal, man.
it is a great reveal, and it's a character we didn't really mention because she's kind of just like off on the side. Her name is Mrs. Tredoni, and she works at for the Monsieur and all the priests,
She's like a
pretty much
caretaker or something, right?
caretaker, exactly. And she's got like a serious infatuation with Father Tom, and she's very like right from the get-go when the mom, Karen, and Alice show up in the beginning, we see Mrs. Tredoni, scrubbing the floors, doing housekeeping work,
Right.
and she kind of just like scoffs at Alice pretty much. And she's kind of side-eyeing him. So you're like, "What's up with that?" If you're not paying attention, if you are, you're like, "What's up with that? What's her deal? Why she got to stick up her ass?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like anytime someone calls for the father, like the father, he tries to call for Father Tom,
Right.
and she's like, "No, he's eating. He can't." She's trying whatever she can to like just keep the father to herself or just on task.
Well, yeah, man. And all right, so now that we kind of we talked a little bit about Mrs. Tredoni. Her reveal was fucking really good, dude. Because usually in these kinds of movies, at like the third act, like right at the end, dude, is like when you start figuring out the killer. Like we still have like a significant amount of time in the movie after she reveals herself. So she reveals herself. It's a pretty shocking reveal, dude. She takes the mask off. The father is just totally shocked, and she ends up fucking killing him. He had a very brutal death.
As
But
if the teeth bashing with the shoe was enough.
right,
When she pushes him out with him tied up, and he just like lands on the glass bottles. But before she does that, she like kind of says her motives, you guys have like damned the church, and pretty much calling his ex-wife like you. I
well,
I don't remember these.
going into like what you're saying about how she kind of wants the father all to herself, Father Tom. Um, it would kind of make sense that Mrs. Spages, however you say their last name, had some kind of thing going with the priest and then having a child out of wedlock, her knowing that,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like, there's a motive there, dude. And then not to mention also Mrs. Tredoni had a daughter that she mentions
Yes.
to the mother after the reveal. So I wanted to ask you, did you think that the reveal happened too soon, or do you feel like it worked?
No, I feel like it worked.
Yeah, I think it worked, man. I liked it. I I uh I thought that it was a good time for it, especially in the scene where it happened. Maybe that
Yeah,
scene wouldn't have been so impactful. Like, yeah, no, the father dying was definitely shocking, but him dying without well, he solved it technically like then and there, but like he wouldn't live to tell the tale. Um
exactly.
but no, man, it really worked. And then after that we have a scene where Mrs. Tredoni is she's back at the Monsignor's house, everything, and I think she's like cooking, getting things going and everything like that. And then the mother um ends up coming, and she was like, hey, Dom was supposed to meet me here or meet me somewhere. He hasn't showed up yet. Is it okay if I just stay here and wait for him or whatever? And she's like, yeah. She's like, go ahead and sit down and be my guest. But it's really cool now because we know that Mrs. Tredoni's the killer and
Yeah.
we know what her motive is. So there's a bit of tension now because the mother doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. And that's when she drops like the whole knowledge that she had a daughter who died before making communion, and pretty much like she says this line where like our children pay for the sins of the parents,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pretty much alluding like your daughter died because you were a
Because
fucking
of your
you were
sins.
fucking yeah, for your sins, and you
So
were
it's never
fucking Father
said, dude,
Tom.
but it's kind of between the lines, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so there's
As she's carving the fucking fish with a butcher knife, and like it's a good scene of tension because the mom doesn't know, but we know,
we
and
now
like
know.
we're like waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, we think that there's gonna be just like some kind of crazy chaotic thing. That I'm glad it didn't happen though. I'm
Yeah.
glad nothing happened at the house, but it was definitely like you're like, I know something you don't know, and it's
And
creepy.
yeah, and she goes, then Father Tom I think shows up, and that's when she goes off with him. And then we skip to like the next Sunday mass, and the mom and Alice, cuz Alice has been released like we said, they're they're on their way to mass, and they're going to stop by and see the aunt. And also, the dad, that's it. Okay, so I think what is it? Father Tom comes to break the news about the dad's death to the mom.
Yeah,
And then that's where they go off. And she doesn't want to tell Alice because Alice has been through enough and she's just gotten out, so she kind of keeps it like under
yeah.
wraps a bit.
Oh,
And
we
she's like,
also go on.
let's just go to Sunday mass. And yeah, that's when we get to them leaving, and then Mrs. Trelawney showing up at the apartment building.
The scene where she kills Alfonso, right?
Yeah, because before before Alice and her mom leave, Alice has got in her altar a jar of cockroaches, and she wants to get even with Alfonso for him pretty much assaulting her in his apartment.
Yeah.
So she pours the jar of cockroaches on him as she's sleeping, then goes and leaves off with her mother. So
Oh,
Alfonso
there
wakes
was a
up.
cool scene though when they're leaving, and then you see Tredoni in the costume running into
Mm-hmm.
the building after
Yeah.
Alice
Yep.
puts the cockroaches
She
in.
comes in through the
Yeah,
other door.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that a
Yep.
lot. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a cop out there watching,
Hmm.
because now we know, like, okay, it's not Alice. And Father Tom has his suspicions too. And so, yeah, let's get back to, okay, so Mrs. Shidoni, she's now like, okay, I've got to kill Alice. I've got to kill the mom.
Yep.
So she's banging on the apartment door thinking they're home. That wakes up Alfonso, who now realizes he's covered in roaches. He starts freaking out. He hears the ruckus of someone coming down the stairs, assuming it's Alice, because every time she comes down the stairs, he always knows because he's watching from that hole in his door
Yeah.
or wall. So he runs out, Alice, you bitch, and he grabs her, and it's the killer, and she stabs him to death, and we hear all this commotion, and that's when we find out, the cop is out there that wanted to originally book Alice is
Yeah,
out
he
there.
breaks the window down in like the lower level. He
Yeah.
breaks the window as he hears the commotion and he runs in.
Yeah, and Alfonso has already ripped the mask off thinking it's Alice and, it's Mrs. Chidoni. And that's when she stabs him. And that's when the cop then gets a quick glimpse of Mrs. Chidoni as she's running off.
Right. Yeah, running down into the basement, just
Mm.
running out of the apartment complex. Yeah.
So then the cop and Father Tom, who are friends, or the lieutenant, if you will, they scheme a plan to bring Mrs. Chidoni in. He's like, she'll come to mass. She'll come to receive communion. Let me get her there. Because the cop wants to put a marksman
He's
up
like,
on the
not in
second
my
level.
church.
Yeah, he's like, not in my church, So he's like, I will find a way to lure her in. So he puts like the other priest on, like, it's almost like a sting operation, if you will.
Yeah, the
while
other priest
mass is
doesn't
going
know.
on.
Yeah. The other priest
Yeah.
doesn't know what's going on.
So everyone's lining up to receive communion, and Mrs. Chidoni's there, and she's making her way closer and closer
Yeah, and
to Alice and the mom.
She's just kind of like in a daze, it kind of seems at this point now too. She
Yeah.
like Mrs. Chidoni, she's still in the coat, in the white dress, but she's just like not there,
Yeah. So she pushes her way past to the communion line, and she's lined up there's the mom and Alice, and Mrs. Chidoni finds her or makes her way in to end up being right next to Alice. And they give the mom communion. And then they skip over Alice, who, again, misses her opportunity.
Yeah.
That's all that girl does is wants to receive communion.
And then you got
And then they
Mrs.
go
Chidoni.
and he won't give her communion. And she's like, why won't you give me communion? And he's like, just come with me. Like, I need you to come with me. And she screams, but you'll give it to that whore.
And this scene shocked the fuck out of me. Dude, I'm not even kidding you. The first time I'd seen it, I was like, I wasn't expecting
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah, seriously. It was very shocking to me. And I will say that is one of the most shocking scenes in a movie I've ever seen.
Really?
Is what we're going to talk about next. Yeah, dude.
Go on. Go talk about it, man.
So Mrs. Tredoni's, freaking out, now she was like, oh yeah, but you'll give that whore, the body of Christ, whatever. And then, dude, she fucking stabs Father Tom in the fucking neck during mass. And I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe it. And he's just like, blood's pouring out of his neck and everything like that, dude. And yeah, it was a very shocking scene. You killed a priest.
Yeah.
And a
right
kid.
in the middle of mass. Chaos ensues in the church again.
Yeah, everybody's fucking running, screaming, trying to get out.
And she's holding him too.
Yeah.
The way she's just like
and like he's just like bleeding out of his mouth and in his neck, and it's just like dripping down the yellow coat.
Mm-hmm. It's so sick, dude. And then we just see Alice walking away from the altar, and she's got Mrs. Tredoni's bag with the knife and the knife is actually lodged into the priest's throat, but like the mask and the raincoat and the dress and everything else, like all of the killer's get up. And she just kind of looks into the camera with this like blank stare.
She does have a knife though, and she like pulls it out and
so
then just,
maybe
like,
it is
puts
the knife.
back in. I don't know if it was the one that was in his neck. It might have been. I don't remember if it like stayed in his neck after she had stabbed him or, ripped it out or whatever. But yeah, no, Alice definitely had a knife in that bag. Yeah, and then she gives us, go on, sorry. I mean,
she gives the camera this crazy looking stare, and then the credits roll.
Reminds me of like the end of Halloween 4.
I was gonna say that or the end of Friday the 13th Part 4 where
It's
Corey
on me.
Feldman looks, yeah, at the camera with the crazy look in his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, this person has just been through so much shit. So
Yeah.
now it's like they're changed a bit, but you don't know if it's for good or evil. But it's probably evil.
Yeah. I mean, she is, even though she is not the killer, she is a very deeply disturbed girl with a
She has
lot
killer
of
tendencies, I'm sure. Yeah,
she's
she's
got
disturbed.
she's got a lot of mental issues going on, that
So,
should have been addressed.
that's the end of Alice Sweet Alice. It
Yeah.
was a very very shocking ending in my opinion. And I'll say it again, one of the most shocking fucking scenes in a movie I've ever seen.
That's
Definitely a great
awesome.
ending. Yeah,
It's
man.
awesome to
I mean,
hear.
dude, I absolutely love this movie, man. It for one, like I said, Jello, that's my favorite genre. I love a good fucking murder mystery. Um I like how they throw you off in this, as far as like the killer goes. I love the killer reveal. I think it's got really good kills. Stylistically, it was shot very cool, very
Yeah.
nice. Aside from the beef that Alfred Soul and the cinematographer might have had, it was still very shot. It was still shot very well. Had a
Yeah.
really good atmosphere. Um, which contributed to the Jello style to it, the whole rainy day and everything like that. Um, yeah, this was a great flick, man. Good pick, friend.
Yeah.
Good pick, my friend.
I'm happy we decided to talk this one cuz like I said, it's one that stuck with me since I was a kid. I do think it is the perfect example of an American giallo. Great
Yeah,
kills,
I
great
agree.
cinematography, great atmosphere, good characters. I love. I enjoy this one, and if you don't mind, I think I'm ready to just give my rating.
Yeah, okay, yeah, dude. Fucking
Yeah.
let's
Uh,
let's talk the rating, dude. Go for it.
I
What do you?
literally just said, everything I like about it. There's not much I don't like about it. I think Alice Sweet Alice is an 8 out of 10. Uh, very overlooked 70s horror that people should definitely seek out, especially if you're a fan of Jallo.
Oh
Seek
yeah,
this one out.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I mean, I said everything that I liked about it as well, man, and everything that you said as well. Yeah, I agree with you. I rate this flick 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I love this movie, man. Definitely. I think it was a really good. I think it's a good introduction to us for getting into some Jello. Because I know how you feel about Jello.
Yeah.
Um,
For those that don't know, I'm not the biggest Jallo fan. Some, but you've stated, dude, you love Jallo.
I love it, dude. I love a good mystery, dude. I love a good crime thriller, and that's like all it is, man. I mean, maybe you'd even say that Seven's a Jello, maybe to
It's
some
debatable.
degree. But yeah, dude, I love that style of filmmaking, man. I gravitate towards it a lot. But yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Great pick,
Cool.
man. I'm so fucking
I-
glad you
I'm
decided.
glad this is staying in your collection.
It will. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't
Yeah.
sell it, dude.
Yeah, man. Just felt it was a good time. We have some things coming up, and I was like, Nick, we need one more episode to put out for April.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It's a good time to talk. Alice, Sweet Alice. And I'm
Yeah.
happy you were on board with it, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, dude. So so it just got me thinking, dude, when you were talking about the whole sting operation and shit.
Yeah.
Now that, we're done talking about the movie and stuff, I just wanted to bring it up. Can you tell the story about when the cops were in the woods by your house? Can y-
Yeah, yeah. All
can
right.
That's one of my
Sure.
favorite stories because you're
Yeah.
talking about a sting operation.
Yeah.
This is a
Okay.
great story. Just tell it.
All right. Story time with Steve.
Go ahead.
So, in 2016, just right around this happened, I had these neighbors a few houses down that were doing some sketchy shit. I think they were like dealing heroin or something. And the cops had like taken notice. And I do have an Orange County sheriff that lives right behind me, and state trooper that lives like two houses over from me. that I actually went to high school with. But they had been scoping out, I guess, this house for a few weeks now. And the way the house is set up is kind of like adjacent from my backyard. So earlier that day, I was hanging out with my step cousin, Big Pimp Tone, not Big Tone, but Pimp Tone, Anthony. And we were smoking, and it just so happened that someone stole his neighbor's car. So we're out there smoking a blunt, and this dude's like, my fucking car, my fucking car. And this person's just taking off with it. And he's chasing the car with a fucking tire iron and kind of looking at us. And we're like, so
What do we do?
what do we do? And Anthony was just kind of like, fuck it, let's go to the other side of the house. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm too high
Doesn't
to
want
be
to get
dealing.
involved.
I don't want to get involved either. I'm like too high to deal with the police. And we start hearing sirens. So I end up dipping out of there shortly after. And I'm chilling. I'm like, yo, dude, like Goosebumps is on Netflix. I'm pretty stoned. I think I'm gonna chill back in my recliner and watch some Goosebumps. Well, I start hearing some commotion going around. And I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? And I swore I saw someone like walk by the window. So I'm like, what the fuck? Now, keep in mind, again, I'm stoned and, sometimes paranoia happens. So I
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the back porch and I slide open the glass door and I hear footsteps. And I'm like freaked out. I'm like, yo, who the fuck's out here? And then I hear like scuffles, like someone like running off. And
That's
then I get
scary.
dude, I slam the door. I call my mom and her husband. I'm like, yo, someone's like in our fucking backyard. Like, I just saw someone go by the window, and then I went in the back porch and kind of yelled out to check out what was going on. And I heard running off, and then I get a bang at the front door. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so they're on the line. They're like, Steve, what the fuck's going on? And then I see it's a fucking state trooper.
Oh
And
boy.
I'm like, oh no.
I'm in trouble.
I'm in
For
trouble
something.
for witnessing Grand Theft Auto and
That's
not
what you
saying
thought,
something
right?
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
witnessing a fucking crime and then not
So
reporting it.
I'm like, yeah,
My
exactly.
cousin Anthony was just like, let's just go smoke somewhere else. We didn't.
Yeah.
I'm.
Yeah, and this is before weed's legal in New York, so I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like, so I answer the door all nervously, and I'm still stoned, and
Oh, your
he's
fucking
like,
heart's pounding.
hey, you live here, right? And I'm like, yeah, this is like my mom's and her husband's house, but yeah, I live here. And he's like, okay, like, so you were like the owner? I was like, well, no, but I have my mom and her husband on the phone. And he's like, can I talk to them? I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, well, we're essentially doing a sting operation. We've been watching your neighbor who is known to be a heroin dealer, and we're pretty much going to bust him, but we just want permission because we have like perfect access from your backyard. And I'm just like, I just hand the because they're
You're like,
yelling my
"Fuck
mom and
this. What's
Dale.
going on, Steven? Put me on the
Yeah.
phone."
So I'm like, here's a state trooper, and then like he explains.
You had like the back light on too, like in the
Yeah.
right.
And he's like, I need you to kill your backlight. You're blowing our cover.
And then
So yeah.
didn't you also say though that like you were cleaning out your bowl or you were cleaning out a
Oh,
bong or
okay.
some
So like the
shit?
day before, I was cleaning out my bong, and with like the hose, because this is like summertime, and I'm like, oh my god, did those cops that have been circling around here like see me cleaning my bong? Like,
The
I
weed-
don't, dude. I'm just fucking stoned and
The
paranoid.
weed you're
and,
fucking smoking though, dude, is the least of their worries, bro.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're trying to bust this fucking sketch neighbor for dealing heroin,
That was one of the best.
and they ended
stories,
up
man.
nabbing him,
Good.
and I almost blew the cover.
Well, good thing you didn't. And fuck that dealer, bro.
Yeah,
Fuck
for
that
sure.
guy. I'm glad. I hope he's in jail.
To the guy that had his car stolen, I'm sorry, man. I was just really stoned and freaking out and kind of just didn't know what was going on. So sorry we didn't call the cops or make a statement.
But
Just-
what a fucking day though, man. You know?
Yeah, it was a day. But yeah, that's my sting operation story.
That's a great story. It lives rent free in my head.
Good.
That's for sure.
Yeah, man. I haven't talked about that story in a while, dude.
I
I haven't thought
like
about that situation
well,
in a
the
while.
thing that I think was good though, man, is So all that shit had happened to you and Anthony earlier on in the day, man, and then you're like, I'm gonna just, go home and fucking vibe out, man. And like you're home, you're still smoking, and you're just trying to watch some fucking Goosebumps, man.
Yeah,
And it's all disrupted, and then there's a cop and all this shit. Like, dude, I would have
bro.
been.
There ended up being like 4 troopers in my backyard,
Were
not
you-
including the one that was like banging on my door.
Did they get him that night? Do you know?
Yeah, they got him that night.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
Yeah,
the
man.
sting operation story.
Yeah.
You've been an open
Oh,
book
you got
today.
it, brother. What's that?
You've been an open book today.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's, let's share some life experiences and stories that have happened in my days here.
Yeah. Dude. I'll tell you a story before we wrap.
Sure.
Quick little one. This was the worst panic attack I've ever had in my life. I thought I was gonna die. Seriously.
Yep, been there.
So, what ended up happening was this. I had a couple of buddies that I used to smoke with quite a bit, and we were like, "Yo, let's go to this fucking guy's house and smoke because he lives by the water, by the train tracks. Like he's got a nice setup and all this." So we're like, "Okay." We go down there, and dude, it was actually like pretty chill, bro. Like it was like a nice moon that night, dude, and we have the car parked, and we're just smoking the car out, and a train comes. We hear a train coming, right? And then we hear it's like, right? It's the siren and the horn starts going off
Yep.
and flies by. And then all of a sudden we hear it start braking, like the sound of when a train's fucking
Yeah,
braking,
course.
dude. Oh man, the train stops on the fucking tracks, and we're like, the fuck is going on? So we continue to smoke. We thought because that shit kind of happens like in that area, like one train will stop and then another one will go and then it'll keep on going. Like we've seen that before, but it was just a little weird. And then another thing that's like really weird about it though is like trains will only sound the horn at intersections or if something's on the tracks. Right?
Yep.
Wasn't an intersection. So we're smoking, chilling, hanging out, and then all of a sudden, dude, cops start swarming the fucking place. And my heart starts to pound, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna get arrested. Like, we're stoned. We have weed on us. We're like, what the fuck is going on? Lo and behold, dude, the neighbor got into a fight with his wife. Heard the train coming. Ran out in front of the train and killed himself
shit.
while we were there. And we didn't even know it.
Damn, dude. That's kind of more insane than my fucking sting operation.
Dude.
And by the way, like,
I'm not laughing
yeah,
for
no,
any
just
other reason than how insane
Yeah.
that night was for me. Like I look back on it and I laugh because it's crazy, not because of
Yeah.
what happened. It's so sad what happened, man. It really upset me when I found out that that person took
I
their
could see
lives.
why you had such a bad panic
But
attack.
dude, it was the worst panic attack I ever had in my life. Mixture of the weed, thinking that I'm fucking gonna get arrested, all this shit, and then the pot wasn't
same
legal
thing,
then, man.
man.
Yeah, but that's why
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
I was like, all right, these stories are kind of marijuana are in both of the stories, and it just goes
Yeah.
into like the whole panic attack
No,
thing of
dude,
it all.
yeah,
but
I panicked.
crazy.
My high was killed
Oh yeah, dude.
that night. I still watch Goosebumps because I had to have some kind of come down.
Right.
But yeah, it totally killed my high. I was in a fucking panic. But damn, dude, that's like some Stand By Me shit.
Story time with Nick, yeah.
Yeah, story time with Nick and Steve, bro.
Crazy.
Some heavy shit, man. So yeah.
It is what it is, man. Such is life, dude. But I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, so no more stories for me, man. I just want to say, dude, overall, fucking great pick, man. I had a lot of fun watching this one. Oh, one thing we failed to mention about Alice Sweet Alice. Goes by 3 different titles.
Yes.
Right? The original title was called Communion,
Mhm.
and then Alice Sweet Alice, and then
Holy Terror.
Holy Terror, which is the TV version of it.
Yep.
Now I don't recall. Did you say anything about that in this
Okay,
episode?
so there was like minor like editing changes, I guess, that I wasn't really able to distinguish other than Brooke Shields is right there slap at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, because like when you had mentioned it to me, I
Like her
thought,
credit starring Brooke Shields, you know.
oh, okay,
Yeah, cuz
okay.
at that point her career was really,
Yeah, she
you
was the
know.
selling point of this, man,
Yeah.
and I think that that's one of the
That's kind of it.
reasons. Yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, no, I when you had mentioned it, I thought like for a TV cut, like maybe the violence would be toned down, be a little bit more off camera. It wouldn't be as much blood because the violence in this is pretty in your fucking face. You really see like the knives going in. You see tons of fucking
Yeah.
blood. It's very violent. So I
And
thought a TV cut would definitely be different than that. But
no, it was all the violence was still kept in.
I think I'll
I
check it
think
out. I was gonna check it out, but like I said, man, some other movies ended up taking the precedent. I was gonna watch it, but then I was like, fuck, I gotta go with my Vinegar Sunday, man.
yeah,
So
no, I might if I got time I might hop on a Vinegar Sunday
I posted it
myself.
on the page. I got it. I got a story pinned now.
Cool.
So when you do it, bro, Vinegar Sunday, just add it to there, dude. I'll show you how to do it if you don't know how to do it. But I thought it'd be
Yeah,
cool to like just show like over time all the movies we watch on our Vinegar Sundays. So um definitely gain the traction with that, man. I love it.
I'm
I might
with it,
watch
dude.
another one, dude. I think I might watch another one. I think Kim and
I
I got some
definitely
fucking
want
cooking and shit we
Vinegar
gotta do.
Sundays. I definitely want Vinegar Sundays to become a thing. You know, if other people, if you're listening, you want to hop in on this, just tag Dead with My Friends podcast in your post and hashtag Vinegar Sundays.
Yeah,
Let us know what you're watching from your Vinegar
yeah.
Syndrome collection.
What are you watching? That's
Yeah.
what I put as the caption. Another thing before we wrap up, um, Evil Dead Rise comes out next week or this
Yeah,
week.
this week. Uh
Are you coming
um
down?
dude, we're set to record. So,
Okay,
I
good.
failed to mention, um we didn't mention, but our next episode we're going to have our first guest on, and it's one of my good friends Dylan, who I used to do a podcast with called Horror Haven Podcast. Him and his wife, they started and they brought me on as a pop in and out co-host. But we're going to have Dylan on.
Yep, Dylan
We're not
Jarvis
sure
is going to be our
what
first guest. I'm
yeah,
excited.
Dylan Jarvis, a good brother, friend of the show. He's going to be our first guest. And we're not sure if we're going to talk Evil Dead Rise or Alone in the Dark because he said he's got his tickets. So I'm saying if I come down Friday, we should probably go see it that night. And maybe we could choose either the movie that he had picked out or Evil Dead Rise because he's down for either.
Okay. Okay.
So we got options, but
Yeah,
Dylan will
we'll
be
figure
on.
that out.
And yeah, dude, I'm down Friday when I come down. Let's go see Evil Dead Rise, and
Okay.
then we're gonna record the next night with Dylan after his kids go to bed. So that's like probably between 8 and 9.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
I'm excited. It's gonna
yeah,
be a
dude, it's
good
gonna be
week.
sick. I'm really like I was hoping they would go the Demons 2 route, but I'm not sure that they will. But regardless, it's a new Evil Dead movie in theaters. We're gonna be chilling. It's regardless, it's gonna be a fun time.
Maybe I'll
I'm trying to.
see if some of the boys want to come.
Yeah, that would, dude, definitely Josh, Brendan. After them coming for Scream 6, I'm always down to
Cool.
fucking have them come with, and I feel like their reactions would be fun. So reach out to them,
I'm
see if
gonna
they're
I'm gonna get in the group chat now
okay.
and I'm gonna see if they want to go because Jade'll definitely want to go. Kim's already going. I told her she's coming. Uh yeah, cuz when we were actually going to see Scream, Jade texted me and she's like, "I'm fucking pissed. I wanted to go and see it cuz she like went out with one of her friends down in the city. So she'll definitely want to go see Evil Dead 2 with Josh." So,
Cool.
fuck yeah. But
Yeah, sounds like a plan, dude. But yeah, if you're a fan of the show, or if you want to see like what we're up to, you could follow us at Dead with My Friends podcast on Instagram. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor FM, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to leave a 5-star rating and a review. It helps the show grow. And if you're trying to get on Vinegar Sundays, tag us in what you're watching and hashtag Vinegar Sundays. We want to know. Like,
We want to know what you're watching
yeah.
because you know what we're watching.
But yeah, until next time when we have Dylan Jarvis on to talk either Evil Dead Rise or another one of his picks.
Yeah.
So until next time, this is Dead with My Friends. I am Steve.
I'm Nick. Peace.
Have a good night.